We're back at it.
Here we are.
We're rolling.
I'm tired. I don't know why. I just sat down and I stopped for the day and I got tired.
The stopping. You stopped the momentum.
Stopped the momentum.
The momentum has stopped and you're resting.
It's been a busy day. I feel like that we haven't had a weekend. Are you pulling chargers out from your butt?
I am.
Wow.
I can sell you one for half the price of a regular.
That's okay. I feel like we didn't have a weekend. It's not fair.
It went really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Super duper.
I feel like
fast.
we didn't have like a proper date for our little anniversary.
I don't think we did either.
I really don't, but oh well.
We need to figure out a proper date night.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. What do you keep looking at?
Just want to make sure we're rolling. That action.
Are we?
Going. Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about thinking styles today. We were on the carriage trail about this time last week. I think on a Sunday or something. Anyway, and we were talking about how different you and I think. You're very science driven and I'm not.
Science driven?
You're science driven.
I'm more fact driven.
No, you're not. You're
on some things.
First of all, you're not fact driven because you'll take anything that you see on Twitter or anything that Joe Rogan says and you consider that's fact enough and you'll believe it.
That's not always true.
Oh, that is always true, sir.
No, not always.
I don't think you're necessarily fact driven.
Well, it just depends on what we're talking about.
You're always like talking about science, how it's this and that, and you always gather your information from listening to one of your podcasts.
Well, and usually it's probably a scientist, not a Scientologist.
Yeah, that's entirely different.
Probably a scientist that's talking about the subject matter.
So do you see where I'm getting
Which is
it?
usually factual.
Not
That's
all the
what
time.
science
Science
does.
doesn't necessarily always mean a lot of science is theories and hypothesis.
Hypothesis.
You know what I mean?
But you test the hypothesis, right?
A lot of times science is fact, but is it though always?
No, probably not always.
Right? Because it keeps evolving. I mean, I feel like science keeps evolving. Look at what we have learned about the galaxy.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's not always necessarily fact because a long time ago, the science book said XYZ about the universe and the galaxies, and now it's saying something entirely different. If you take a science book from back when we were kids and compare it to the science book now, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
So how can you say that science is always science is always evolving?
It is.
So anyway, but that's not what I want to talk about. I didn't know there are. Now I don't know. I just found this article.
Cool.
It's from ThriveWorks or something. Anyway, it's what are the 5 thinking styles?
Ooh.
And they are synthesist, idealist, pragmatics, analysts, and realists.
Realists.
Right. Isn't that crazy? So just briefly, and then maybe we'll dive more into these. Synthesists stand out with their creativity and curiosity. They like to consider different ideas, views, and possibilities. This is just a brief overview. Idealists are always setting and working towards big goals. They set the bar high and expect others to do the same. Pragmatics take a logical approach to problem solving. They focus on immediate results as opposed to the long-term effects. Analysts are interested in the facts and data points. They have a clear procedure for doing all things. And then realists are the perfect problem solvers. Tackle problems head on and don't feel challenged by your everyday conundrum. Conundrum. How about that word?
Can you even use conundrum in an article?
Yeah, I mean, everyday conundrum is what I do. It's what we do. I feel like that means, does conundrum mean like monotony? Does that kind of?
No, I don't think so.
Well, how do you know? I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to look up the definition
of conundrum.
Right here. It is a confusing and difficult problem or question. Oh, okay. One of the most difficult conundrums so a question asked for amusement, typically one with a pun in its answer, a riddle. I didn't know that. What's an example of a conundrum?
Basically, you're trying to figure something out, right?
Okay, that's not what I thought it was. So
You
you're
got
right.
yourself in a conundrum.
I don't know.
I don't know
Anyway.
if you say it that way.
I don't
Probably
think
don't
that's
use
how
it
you
that
use
way
that
in a
in a
sentence.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
Where just reading that, where do you think you lie?
I would say the only one, and this is me, which a lot of times we don't have the best or most accurate view of ourselves. But the one that seems like fits closest to me would be the first one.
The synthesist? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand out with their creativity and curiosity. They like to consider different ideas, views, and possibilities. Yeah.
Not necessarily even the creativity, but I'm always open to, I like different ideas and thoughts, and I'm curious.
I think that we could maybe adopt a couple of these.
That's what I was thinking.
Can you cross reference?
I'd say so. I'd say that it's not dead on, but I'd say I'm more curious. I'm pretty curious in my old age.
I mean, because I didn't know the definition of realist is this, because I always thought I was a realist, but I'm not. Looking at this, where it says perfect problem solvers tackle problems head on and don't feel challenged by your everyday conundrum. I feel challenged every day by conundrums.
And
I'm not very smart.
I think there's different definitions of realist depending on what we're talking about.
I mean,
so
maybe.
in this, I guarantee if you look up the definition of a realist, it might have a little different.
Allow me, since I have my...
You know what I mean? Like this just maybe when it comes to personality styles or dealing with things. I don't know.
A realist, according to English language learners' definition,
Sounds legitimate.
is a person who understands what is real and possible in a particular situation. A person who accepts and deals with things as they are. An artist or writer who shows or describes people and things as they are in real life. That's what I was thinking it was.
Me too.
And that's what I am.
Yes.
If it's here, it's real, it's possible, it's, you know what I mean? I don't really necessarily always, here's the thing. I don't necessarily always believe in the impossible, except for when it comes to like the Bible and God. Because if you think about it, you think that, is that even possible? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I am taken by that. And I don't know if that's because that's how I was raised. That's how I grew up, as this is what it is. And you believe exactly what this, I mean, that was like hammered into my head.
Same. I'm the same way as you with that.
If you don't believe in this word for word, you know what I'm saying? But like, other than that,
Which I don't believe that's necessary.
I don't know. Am I a realist? Because in our conversations prior to this with Michael Scholes, when we were talking about aliens and stuff, and we were talking about the paranormal or whatever, people think that's not possible, but I also believe in some of that, not necessarily the alien part. So am I a realist, or you know, what are we?
Are we tying realist to also to I don't know the word for it. But anyway, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of some of this. I don't know.
I don't either.
It's kind of wild.
It is.
Really, when you start looking at definitions and trying to evaluate yourself and how you believe.
Well,
I think with the religion, I mean, we're both the same way in that it's. I think and I've said that before. You when you're brought up a certain way, you've got so much emotional attachment to it,
mm-hmm.
right? And we're built as humans. We've got I can't remember what it's called, but there's a part of our brains that craves belief. Like we need to believe in something.
I think everybody needs to believe in some sort of higher power, whatever that may be.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I think we're all built with that in us. I think that's why I've always said. I said if I was born with the same parents, the same family, even in the same area, same house, but was born into a devout Muslim family, I would be Muslim right now.
No,
and
sure.
that's what I would believe 100%.
And I think too, I always think that, like, you know, if I was raised a different way, and maybe it's in a family that really doesn't believe in any type of higher power. Not necessarily an atheist. Does an atheist not believe in God? Right? That's an
Correct.
atheist. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean they don't believe in the devil
They don't.
either.
They don't believe in anything.
Okay, so if I was raised in
They just believe you're here.
Okay.
And you
So-
live and you die.
right. So if I was born into a family like that, I mean, would I grow to adopt something, and would I, a belief in a higher power, and what would that look like? You know what I mean? Because like you said, we both were kind of raised this kind of, and as far as religion goes, raised the same way. And like I said, I mean, we were in church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, every
went to
freaking
church,
revival,
camps,
right.
Yes.
So it's,
And the most important figures in our lives, the people we respect the most, that we love the most, who care for the most, modeled that life. And on top of it, it's a good way to live your life.
no, it's, I don't regret it
So
at all.
it's not
and
a bad way to live, even if it wasn't a real thing.
yeah.
It's still a good lifestyle to live. It's a healthy.
Oh, it kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Except for the some of the drama and the judgmentalness and all that.
But we
There's
didn't see
there's
that
a
growing up.
balance.
No,
Right.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not a bad way to grow up because it kept me out of a lot of trouble. It kept me out of a lot of trouble having that fear.
Having fear, yeah, you're always fearful.
But with my parents,
Judgment.
one of my mom and her whole side of the family were very, very religious people. My dad was not, and his side of the family was not necessarily. And my dad's dad, my grandpa, he studied the Bible and stuff like that. But I think he's more like I am today. Like he had a relationship with God and he read his Bible. He went to church, but he also lived his life. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Where my mom and her side of the family, they walked the line. Like,
Right.
I mean, they walked the line. Like my dad's dad, whom I just said, went to church and read his Bible. He also liked to drink some, and he liked to smoke, and he would say words, and he, you know what I mean? So I feel like
Right.
he actually probably had a better idea of religion than I thought, now that I look back on it. Now, my dad's mom wasn't necessarily religious. She really never went to church with him. You never saw her reading the Bible or anything like that. But anyway,
Well,
I don't know how we got talking about religion. I didn't want
I
you
don't
to go
either.
that way, but whatever.
but that's sorry, you can go ahead.
No. I was just saying, I'm just wondering, like, how different my thinking would be. I don't know if I was raised not that way. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we got burnt out and we live the way we do now because we definitely teach our kids those values, not as hardcore. I heard a pastor talking about it the other day I don't know if it was on a podcast or I don't know, but he was talking about how we don't even what we've built in our society, Christ would not recognize. The leaders of back then, they wouldn't even recognize the church it wouldn't recognize us today. It would not know what in the world's going on because this wasn't how it was.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't how it was at all. There weren't churches like this. There weren't groups of people with hierarchies. And you know what I mean?
Right.
You had basically said they had more than anything, it would have been more like small groups in homes, like reading the Bible and teaching each other. But nobody had to be a part of a group. You know what I mean?
I think it's so funny how the people a lot of the church people today think if you don't go to church every Sunday, if you don't belong to a church, you're not a Christian and you're lost. And I do not
It's insane.
at all believe in that. And I had a conversation, not really a conversation, it was just a text exchange here recently with my mom. I don't even know if I told you this, but it was Easter Sunday. She was wanting us to come to church, and we kind of toyed around with it. And then that happened with Kaylee, and I was like, well, we can't go because Kaylee, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, well, shoot, I really wish something. And I said, Mom, I hope you don't think that just because I don't walk in the church doors every Sunday that I don't pray and have a relationship with God. I mean, because I do. And she was like, well, I hope so. I said, oh, okay. I do. Like, who are you? I love my mom. Don't get me wrong. But who are you to think for 1 second that just because I don't walk through the church doors every Sunday that I'm struggling in my Christianity or in my religion or whatever it is?
Because
Maybe
you got to look the part. You got to live.
That's
You got to
what it
look
is.
the part. You got to go to the club. You got to be
Right.
in the club, and you got to answer to people, and you got to look a certain way.
Now-
You got to be. exactly like everybody within those doors, which is my argument about the church. It's like you need people in there that challenge the way you think.
Right.
You need people that don't fit your profile, don't fit your. You need to welcome everybody, and you say they do, but they don't.
Right. I mean, I think some churches do. I do, but
Some do. Yeah.
Like when we were in Atlanta and we were going to that one church, even a few churches that we went to in Atlanta, I looked forward to going. You know what I mean? I enjoyed, because I do enjoy starting my week with, you know, some positivity and having my mindset in the right direction. And I think going to church a lot of times does that. Puts your mindset, you know, even when we went on Easter Sunday, I mean, it was good. It felt good. I was like, okay, that was good. I needed to hear that. It was a good message. And I think that is good. But if you're going to church just to be counted, and here's the thing, dear Lord, help me, Jesus. I am telling you what, I have a problem with this. They take attendance in church that my mom goes to. They do not, it's not counting. Okay, I get you need to count because you want to see if your congregation is growing.
Well, and they have to report it.
That is fine.
Right.
Sure, that's fine. Count. There was 100 in attendance today. And then the next week there was 110. Then the next week there was 115. Okay, good, we're growing. Or there was 80 this week. And then there was 7. Okay, we need to do something to get more people in the door. Okay, A-okay, 100%. I get you need to do it. But you do not need to know if Angie Runyon's in church. Why do you have my name on a flippin' piece of paper? And why are you checking it off like I'm in home base? That's what makes me angry. They don't want to know. They want to know who's backsliding. My name's not been on that roll, but Easter Sunday in the past couple of years. And one of the reasons is because I don't like stuff like that. I don't like it.
I'm not a fan either.
If it truly was just a church for you to come in and you hear a message and you be taken care of and you be loved on, they don't need to know if it's Angie Runyon or just a person sitting in the pew as a number. So one place that I want to just be a number.
Right.
I don't want you to take roll and see if I'm there.
Kind of like when we were in the church in Atlanta. It was nice just to go.
I never saw them take roll in that church.
Feel weird about anything.
Like, what the heck? Okay, if you have a visitor, if you see a visitor, sure, fill out a visitor's card. I get it. So we can reach out to you.
Sure, yeah.
But you don't have to have my name on a roll. And that bothers me.
I see.
That stuff like that bothers me.
Yeah.
And when people come up to you and when you go to church on a regular basis and then you miss a Sunday, oh, we missed you last week. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You just wanted to know where I am. You want to know why I missed. So why don't you just say, why did you miss last Sunday? You don't care if I was sick. You don't care if I was out of town. I mean, you want to know why I wasn't there. What are you doing?
I keep thinking I hear Nate yelling your name.
Oh. Maybe. He knows where I live. I said that wrong. They do care. I said that opposite.
Yeah, sure.
They do want to know where you've been. You know what I'm saying? They don't necessarily care. They just want to know the excuse that you have of why you weren't there.
Right.
So a lot of these practices, like stuff like that, is what has kept me from going to church on a regular basis. I don't not like going to church. I actually enjoy it. But I can't find a place here where I feel normal going to church. Like it feels weird. Like it's like, what are you all doing?
Yeah, I don't know if
What's
for me
wrong with me?
I don't know if it's for me just the whole setup now after being out of the church.
Hold on. Pause that for
I
a
think
second.
that's Brooke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, we had to take a little pause.
We are back. I think what I was getting ready to say is it's weird that when you're brought up in the church and like you said, we're there 3 days a week. Doors open. I was there growing up. So now being a little bit away from it for a while, it's when I go, I see it in a different perspective. And
True.
It's really weird.
True.
Like it's really culty.
It's very
feeling. And I'm not saying it as just
right.
My church I grew up in because I love it more than any church.
Well, yeah.
I'm talking about any church I go to. It just feels super. They feel culty, and it's like the mega churches. They just, for me, they always seem so cheesy.
Yeah, and
the music and
it's
stuff.
So,
it's just weird.
It's so funny, like you said, being away. Because growing up, when my dad did go to church, he was Catholic. He went to a Catholic church, and so whenever we would go, which wasn't very much, but whenever we did, I felt that way about Mass. I
Sure.
felt like not necessarily. Not. I don't want to use the word cult because that's a very, very strong word for me to use.
I'm
I
not
don't,
saying they are a cult.
No,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying,
but I'm just
so
saying
people
to
can
even.
understand.
No, I know what you're saying, but it was very same thing every week kind of thing. They said the same thing.
Ritualistic.
Ritualistic.
Yes.
Okay, that may be a better word.
They did
And
rituals.
I felt
yeah.
like I'm like, this is the same thing over and over again. And I kind of feel that way
That's
now.
how I see church.
Going into church after not being there for a while, I'm like, wow, we're still singing these hymns.
You're programmed.
You got to sing 3. You have to sing 4 songs before the sermon. Why is it so much like that?
Because it's how you train people.
You know what I noticed? They didn't take offering on Easter Sunday. It's weird.
No.
Do you remember that? Anyway, so I think it is very ritualistic maybe, and I don't really feel like I have to have that in order to have a relationship with God or be religious or be a Christian for that matter.
But that goes back to my point. That was created by man. All this stuff was created by man. God didn't create
Right.
the ritualistic setup. I mean, maybe there's stuff in the Bible that points towards things. I think like communion, remembrance.
Sure.
I think there are rituals that
No,
are
I think
very
that's
important,
fine.
and they're I love them.
No,
but the
agree.
silly ones, like, you know what I mean?
Do we really have to sing a closing hymn? Is this necessary? Can you just be done with your sermon and then just say a prayer and say, y'all have a good week? Like, we don't have to have, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it's just so systematic, and it's an organization at the end of the day.
Right.
Right. So basically, you have these systems in place because you want to get people. You want to, and I believe that they truly, it's their mission, and they truly believe this. They want to get people saved from the depths of hell.
Well, that's fine.
And then there's steps from there. I just don't know how much I like all the steps that are. It's like, okay, now you need to be a member.
Right.
And now we can make you feel weird because you don't tithe but 5%.
Right.
And God won't bless your family if you don't give 10%.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then I just think a lot of it gets a little weird.
I totally agree, and that's my whole point.
And it shouldn't be led by people. I should be led by you know. And I'm not saying you don't teach those things, but I don't know. There's some.
No, I mean.
Then again, some of my greatest memories are from that church, and my grandfather was a pastor, and some of my greatest memories, some of my greatest times. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just being very honest and transparent on my view and the way it looks. At my age of 45.
I totally agree with you 100%. And that's what I tried to tell my mom the other day. I was like, look, it doesn't mean that I don't do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, well, it just would be better if, if you could come a little bit more to church. And I'm like, you just made me not want to.
Well, but that's the thing is I just told you that I have a relationship with Christ. I have my own way of communicating with him, and I don't really like church. And it's not that you don't like church, but
Right.
I don't feel. But it's for show.
Like what?
It's for show.
Now
you come so people can see.
It is for show. That's what I feel like it is.
That's my point. Why do you want me to be there? See, we don't care anymore what people think. If we did, we would be there every Sunday because that's the reason we were there before, is because we cared what people thought.
Right. Why can't I just stay at home? Now, I'm not saying that I do this every Sunday. I'm not saying that my relationship couldn't be better. I'm not saying that I don't need to pray more or read the Bible more or whatever. Yeah, I mean, of course I do. I really do.
But no matter what you do, you're always going to could do better.
Why can't I stay home on a Sunday and do that from my couch?
Right.
Why do I have to have somebody talking to me, a preacher? Like who? Why does it have to be a sermon that I listen to? Why can't I just meditate? Why can't I pray? Why can't I just read a devotion or read the Bible? Like, why do I have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, 45, if you go 52 Sundays a year, 45 of them before when we went to 52 a year, 45 of them I was checked out.
Yeah. Is there 52 Sundays in a year?
52 weeks, right?
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that. I guess you're right.
So, I mean, I'm sitting there, if you go that many times a year, 80% of them you're checked out. Always was.
Is there only 52 weeks in a year?
Am I saying that wrong? Yeah, it's 52 weeks.
No.
There's 4 weeks in a month. There's 12 months in a year. So 4 times 10 is 40.
That's 40 weeks is 9 months, though.
40 weeks is 10 months.
40 weeks is 40. When you're pregnant, you're pregnant for 40
I'm
weeks.
sorry. Four.
And you're 9 months pregnant.
We sound like idiots right now. We're doing math.
No,
I'm telling you, there's 52 weeks a year.
I mean, I believe you. I believe you because you're a scientist.
No, I'm not a scientist.
Okay, so there is.
If there's 10 months and there's 4 weeks in every
you're right.
month,
There's
there's 40 months and 10.
Just doesn't pan
40
out
weeks
right.
and 10. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
But my whole point is, how often were you checked out? And
all
when
the
is this
time.
going to be over?
All the time.
Like, when can I get out of here so I can get on with my day?
I mean, I did that on Easter
I'm
Sunday
checking
when
in.
I was checking
People, I'm checking in so you can see me here.
And here's the
and
funny
I've
thing.
wasted my whole damn morning.
Here's the funny thing.
So I could feel like accepted.
The funny thing to me about Easter Sunday was he kept referring to the time. He's like, oh, I got you for 5 more minutes. Oh, I got you I'm still doing good on time. Why do you need time? When you get your point across, we should be done. If you need longer, you should be longer. Why are you referring to the time? It was annoying the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
got that too.
So you mean you have a sermon for 30 minutes, but what if you can get it done in 15? We have to stay for the 30 because it's a ritual.
Yeah.
People start getting antsy if we're not out by whatever it is, 11:45. By noon, if we're not out, people are getting antsy. They're leaving to go to the bathroom and not coming back. Why? Is your time up? Like, if you're such a religious person, you shouldn't even be looking at your clock. Shouldn't matter.
No,
and I think a lot of people
probably
it doesn't. But you know what I mean? It's like
you nail it, and if you're done at 12:42 or 11:42,
then you're done.
Let's get out of here.
You got your point across. I don't know. It's just. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off track and talk about only religion, but I don't even know where all that came from. I was really going down a road of talking about these thinking styles.
Yeah, we got stuck on religion somehow.
I don't know how we did that.
Which is a good talk.
So maybe we will come back to this list sometime.
Yeah, we can definitely come back to it.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm sure I've disappointed my mom and my grandmother, and I'm sure they pray for me every night that I'll get back into church. But what? Okay, here's my thing.
Church is like pickup basketball. It's like, and that's not a real good analogy. It's like a club, right? It's like you quit the chess club, right? And your friends are still at the chess club, and they're like, "Man, Angie needs to get back to chess club. Why don't you come back to chess club?" Why? I don't like playing chess anymore.
Yeah. Well,
not that you don't love God. But you just don't.
But my point is, okay, so what if I did walk through the door every single Sunday, but I was checked out the whole time and I was thinking terrible thoughts in my head? It's okay because I'm in the seat and you can mark my name off your roll.
Right. When you could have like a very peaceful.
That's what I'm saying.
Experience with God as you're standing in Fayetteville.
Right.
On the top of a
as
mountain.
You're
hiking. Taking in the beauty.
I'm not saying that I do, but I'm just saying, like, why do you need my body in church? Why? Why do you need me there? And it's you that needs me there. It's not God that needs me there.
Right.
God knows what I have going on.
Right.
I'm still protected. It's a person needing to see me there. Why? That's what I want to sit my mom. I don't want to fight with my mom, but I do want to sit her down one day and be like, why do you need me there so bad? And she'll say, oh, it's not that I need you there. But it is. Why are you so worried about it? You know?
I have no clue.
So I don't know. It's like she doesn't even know me. Like she doesn't know. She thinks because I drink wine and because she's listened to some of my podcasts and they can get kind of raunchy sometimes that all of a sudden I'm a sinner. And that's how we were raised. That's how I was brought up. If you say a curse word, you're going to hell. If you drink, you're going to hell. If you do this X, Y, and Z, you're going to hell. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're such worldly things. She never. I wasn't raised like. I mean, I don't know if she was like this should be common sense, but. You know, there are the 10 commandments. I do try to abide by those. I try not to kill people.
Good work.
I try not to, covet other, those are the things that like weren't always
modeled. Not modeled.
They were modeled, but they weren't
modeled,
beat in my head like,
head, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you said hell, Angie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like weird to me.
It's
strange. So strange because it's just
it's
a
like
word.
You get in trouble for the ritual, like that kind of stuff, and for missing church.
I mean,
or for not, you know what I mean, not doing certain things at church or being involved in this or that more so than.
it's really weird. I mean, it doesn't say thou shalt not say a curse word. They didn't even know what the word shit was back then.
No.
Okay, they say do not use the Lord's name in vain, and I do not make a habit of doing that. I don't.
Yeah, but
I don't like to hear "Oh my God." I don't say "Oh my God." I don't like it.
That's not even what it means when I learned the definition. It doesn't mean
What does it mean?
any of that. I'd have to look it up, but it doesn't mean Jesus Christ or God damn it or
Oh gosh,
oh my God.
I don't like to hear it. I don't
but
like
I'm
to
just
hear
saying
it.
that's not using. That's just something they taught us, so we wouldn't say
But
bad
what does that
words.
mean?
What does it mean?
I don't know. You spit these so-called facts.
Hey, listen, I am the.
But
fat
no,
guy.
but really, honestly, like, do they have those curse words? And my kids are always saying it's just a word. Like, what is the big deal? And I agree, it is just a word. I am not going to go to hell because I said shit. I'm not. And if I am, wow. You know,
You're not.
I mean, I can think like an adult now. I'm not going to go to hell because I have some wine at night. You know,
I do know.
like I think I have a bigger God than that. He doesn't care what I say.
It's a prohibition. It's blasphemy. Taken in vain of the name of the God of Israel, which is how the Bible puts it, or using his name to commit evil. So basically, when you do things in, like, you know, some, like the Muslim, like, and I don't want to say Muslim, that's not nice, but there's extremist groups and everything, just like that stupid Baptist church that protest freaking
Oh, like the
funerals of someone who might have been a homosexual.
Yes.
So they're going, you're burning
and
it.
like the abortion
Freaking
people,
horrible,
like
horrible people. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pro-life, but I wouldn't go burn
but
down.
you're
I
not.
mean, like,
But that would be it. You blow up an abortion. You would say, this is in God's name.
Oh,
You're using his name in vain. You're using God.
Like God hates
and
you. God hates gay people, or
you're
God
making,
hates. Yeah.
You kill a bunch of people, but you say it's because it's in God's name.
See, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, that's using God's name in vain.
Right.
You're using it to do something terrible.
I hear what you're saying.
It's not a curse word.
Right. I mean, I still don't like to hear it, but I know what you mean. That makes
right,
more
but
sense.
it was beaten all my life. I thought.
Oh, same.
I thought using his name in vain was saying, "Oh my God."
Right.
Right. Oh my God. So.
Right. I mean, I try not to say it. I don't like to say it. I don't like my kids to say it, but that's just me.
But that's the thing, though. We're tricked. The only reason you don't like to say "Oh my God" is because you were told it's wrong.
Right.
God never
That's
said
true.
it was wrong.
That's true.
It's the same as if your parents brought you up saying, "Don't say oh my toast."
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's because they taught us that you can't say that.
Right. And it's so funny because with my mom with cussing, it's so hilarious. I don't know why this stuck in my head, but I did call her out on it one time, and I was like, it was trick or treat. And we were walking with Nate. It wasn't last year. It was like a couple of years ago when we still felt like we had to walk around with him. So this is probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even. And, in my mom's neighborhood, trick-or-treat's like crazy
It's
busy.
awesome.
And it's just
Yeah.
wall-to-wall people. And we were walking beside these people. And they were cursing like me and you were just talking right now.
Right.
They weren't being ugly. They weren't yelling at anybody.
Part of their
They were
natural-
having a conversation, and we could hear it because we were close. Okay, they weren't
Sure.
being any louder than we're being right now. We just happened to be there. My mom was so appalled. She was disgusted. She was like, "They're talking like that around their children." But I'm like, they might just talk like that.
That is how they talk.
That's how they
I'm
talk.
sure.
They feel like they're doing nothing wrong, and they are not doing anything wrong. It is how they talk.
Right.
And I don't want to grow up with I tried to raise my kids. Of course, I didn't want them hearing a lot of curse words. I didn't curse in front of my kids very often. I do now sometimes, but I didn't growing up. When they would hear something on TV, because of the way I was raised, I always felt obliged to say, that's a curse word. We don't say that. But now that I've changed my thinking, it's why am I bringing so much attention to it? It makes them want to do it more.
It's silly, right?
And
yeah.
why? Yeah. So why?
It's silly.
It really is.
It's childish.
It really, honestly is.
Because it's how people talk. And what gives us the arrogance? And I'm not saying that just about your mom. I'm saying about the way I was and the way people think, well, they have to watch out for the way I think things should be. You know, if I think people should be watched, to think somebody shouldn't be able to curse.
Yeah, I mean, who am I?
That's how people talk.
That's how they were raised. That's how they talk. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, I should have said something to them. I'm like, what?
What are you going to say to adults?
It's
Don't
like
cuss
somebody
in front of your kid. Who are you?
It's like my mom having a conversation out loud where other people can hear about God and about praying, and somebody saying to her, I wish you wouldn't say that out loud. Same thing.
Right.
What do you mean? This is how I live. Well, don't say it where anybody else can hear it. Why?
Right.
And that's what blows my mind. And I think back, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I love my mom. I love my grandma. I love my whole mom's side of the family. But man.
Well,
wow.
my family's, it's a similar mindset. It's how
a
we
very
were raised.
similar mindset. I'm just blessed enough.
I love them too. I'm not upset about it.
I just feel blessed that I got to see both. I got to see both angles. And I think that's why maybe I'm as level-headed about it as I am. I'm so glad that I didn't fall down that judgmental, holier than thou, righteous path. I think that's what turns me off with church, because I think a lot of people are like that in the churches that we go to. I've not been to honestly any other religions or whatever, but as far as like Baptist and Nazarene go, and I'm not saying everybody. So if you're listening and you go to church and you love it and you're not like that, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah,
but you got to know who I'm talking about. You know.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it's the only way to. They say, I don't know. You've got to fit in that mold.
I don't fit that mold anymore.
That's my point.
But that doesn't take away the point that I'm still a Christian and I still pray and I still have faith. You know what I mean?
Well, that's me. I feel my sense of humor, the stuff I joke about,
right?
The comedy I watch,
right?
You know what I mean? The
yeah.
stuff. I mean, that's not going to be. That would be frowned upon. My sense of humor would be frowned upon.
Remember that song they taught us in church? Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little eyes, what you see.
They're not little anymore.
For the Father up above is looking down with love. So be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. You know, and it goes on. Be careful, little mouth, what you say.
Yeah, yeah.
That song kept me out of a lot of trouble. Sorry about my singing, y'all. I do not sing.
It's good stuff.
Sorry about that.
You should do that. We'll end every podcast with you singing that song. We'll change the podcast name.
Oh my gosh. I just feel like I can watch a movie with curse words in it. I can watch some inappropriate comedy and I can still have a relationship with God and be okay. That's just how I think.
Growing up, I was taught like violent movies, that kind of stuff. It was going to make me a worse person. Like, it will desensitize you.
Yeah.
Is the word that was always used. It's going to desensitize you. You're going to come numb to, like, you're going to, and it's crazy. It's absolute nuts.
I've seen violent movies and I'm not numb by violence. Violence disturbs me.
Ugh.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not going to be desensitized. And if I see it in real life, I'm still going to vomit.
So you're going to watch violent movies and then you're going to turn into Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's better to say, like we do, it's a freaking show.
It's TV.
If you can't watch it, you shouldn't watch it. If it scares you, don't watch it. But it's just TV.
And
it's
listen,
fake.
This new show where we've been watching, it might get to that point. I don't know.
It may.
Last night I did okay. We're watching, I don't know, something from 2019, like The Haunting of Hill House or something.
Yeah.
Don't know why we're watching this. We watched The Servant, the 2 seasons of that. That wasn't so bad. And then we were just kind of on this kick of like being a little bit creeped out. And it worked last night. It was a little bit weird. I got chills once.
Yes.
Like, it made me have actual chills. Yeah. So, but if it comes to the point where I'm not able to sleep at night, or if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep and I'm seeing things and hearing things, then I'm not watching it anymore. So there you go. Anyway, this podcast went nowhere where I thought it was going to go. So I'll keep this list and we will circle back to thinking styles, because I think it's interesting. I think it would be interesting to actually do this podcast with maybe Michael or something, because he seems so intelligent that maybe he would have some input into this. And also, I think it would be good to do it with somebody who knows us pretty well and can give their opinion, because I can give my opinion on how I think you think, and I have opinion on how I think, but maybe I don't.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. You might
feel that about yourself,
you
but
think that about yourself, but not really.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It's getting dark in our room.
It is.
Why have my lights not come on?
They come on at like 8, got something.
Oh. Well, this has been nice and real, and I probably don't want to talk religion for about another year now. So, because I broke my rule.
You did, and you caused it.
I broke my rule. I ran with it. I said I don't talk about religion and I don't talk about politics, and I just broke one of them.
You broke it.
So
you broke the rule.
Oh well.
Well, this was fun.
Okay.
That's all, folks.
Peace out.